Joining me now, Senator Angus King of Maine, a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, which is holding a hearing tomorrow on efforts to spread political discord on social media. And Senator, what do you think about the fact that it appears that the exact same playbook is being operationalized this year as it was in 2016?
Chris, this is a really big deal. Number one, as you've already pointed out, they're back at it. They're doing it again. Number two, buried in this story today, it appears they're doing it in a more sophisticated way. They're not paying with rubles, for example, and they're disguising where some of this is coming from through VPNs around the world. And number three, what they're really doing underneath all of this is taking aim at our system itself. The combination of the First Amendment and democratically elected governments is exactly what they're focusing on. I call it geopolitical jujitsu, remember, where you use your opponent's strength against them. And that's what they're doing here. And this could turn out to be the biggest story of this whole matter as it plays out over the next couple of months.
Well, what do you say to someone who says, look, I've looked at some of these Facebook pages, they look kind of lame. I'm not convinced that, a bunch of people posting on Facebook or on Twitter bots is really having a huge effect?
Well, I think one of the things, and you mentioned we're going to have a hearing on this tomorrow before the Senate Intelligence Committee, followed up, I hope, by another hearing a month or so from now with the officials from these companies. Tomorrow are going to be experts on exactly what's going on. But we think we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, frankly. There is a lot more going on that's being used to manipulate us. And what they're really doing is simply trying to sow discord and distrust. They're trying to divide American society. And frankly, they're doing a pretty good job of it. And they're going to continue to do it until we get real about some kind of response. And we can talk about that.
Well, that's my next question for you. Has there been sufficient response from the Trump administration?
The short answer is no. Although I have to amend that by just this morning, Secretary Nielsen in New York started making the right kind of noises, talking about a more structured response from within the administration. The problem is the response has been spread across a lot of different departments. Nobody was really in charge. Nobody was accountable. They did set up a new office today. That may help. But the other thing that she mentioned, just obliquely, but is absolutely critical, we've got to convince the Russians or the Chinese or the North Koreans or whoever is proposing to do something like this that they're going to pay a price. They haven't paid any price. We're a cheap date, Chris. They knocked the hell out of our democratic process in 2016, and there were some sanctions imposed, but nothing really, as one of our witnesses said, nothing that would change their calculus. We have to have a deterrent policy that they understand that if they do this, there's going to be hell to pay. And so far, that hasn't been forthcoming from this administration. I also have to say the prior administration, I don't think, was adequate in developing a cyber deterrence strategy.
Let me ask you a final question, and it has to do with a database that some Clemson professors have kept of Russian Twitter trolls. With an index of their activity through the 2016 campaign. 538 made a visualization of it. And you see there's right there in the center of that chart, I don't know if you can see it, there's one line that's higher than any other line. It's the single most active day for Russian Twitter trolls and bots. And it is October 6th, 2016, which is the day before WikiLeaks publishes the first tranche of emails of John Podesta. Does that strike you as remarkable?
Oh, I think it's a mere coincidence. No, of course it's remarkable. This wasn't some kind of random attack, Chris. This was very sophisticated, and one of the problems is they're getting even more sophisticated, and we're still sort of trying to figure out how to respond in November of 2016. We've got to learn how to respond now, and they know what they're doing, and they're weaponizing information and using it against us. This is very dangerous for our democracy, and we're going to have to get our act together to be able to fend it off.
All right, Senator Angus King, thanks for making time.